Welcome to section 1.4, Basic Rules of Algebra. First thing I want to get out of the way is some of the vocabulary involved with algebra. First of all, 7x plus 3 is an expression. And we know that because there is no, you can't see that, no equal sign. An equation would have an equal sign and something following that. So we'll get to that in just a few minutes. 7x and 3 are both terms. (7x) because it's the first one in standard form is the leading term. And 3, because it has no variable with it, is called a constant term. So a number all by itself. Part I skipped over is what x is, which we talked about earlier in the chapter, is the variable. So a letter meant to represent any number of different values. So if I look at 4x plus 7 plus 5x, this expression has 1, 2, 3 terms. Each term is separated by a plus or a minus. We have a coefficient of 4x here and a coefficient of 5 here. That was the other part that I did not specify. The number in front of the variable is called a coefficient. 7 is a constant, as we talked about before. And we don't have a leading term yet, because what I can do to reduce this is combine my like terms. Both of these have an x with them, so these are like terms. So to simplify this expression, I can combine those, 4x plus 5x. I have 4 x's and 5 x's. I add those together to get 9x. So 9x, and then I drop down the plus 7. So 9 becomes my leading term. And 7 didn't change. That remains constant. These two expressions, 4x plus 7 plus 5x and 9x plus 7, are equivalent algebraic expressions because they are the same thing or equal to each other, just written a different way. So one of the first properties we have to deal with is called the commutative property. We have addition and we have multiplication. And what this means is when you add or multiply, you can do those in any order and it doesn't matter. So A plus B is the same as B plus A. So for example, 5 plus 8 equals 13, and 8 plus 5 also equals 13. So no matter what direction you go, you're going to get the same answer. Same with multiplication. AB is the same thing as BA. 8 times 5 gives you 40, and 5 times 8 also gives you 40. So those are equivalent expressions, and it doesn't matter which order you go in. We also have the associative properties of addition and multiplication. What this is saying is that A plus B, quantity A plus B, so in parentheses, plus C is the same thing as A plus quantity B plus C. If we're only adding, then that makes a difference there because, that doesn't change anything. Those parentheses can just drop off, but you have to pay attention as to whether you're only adding in those situations. Multiplication associative property means that A times B, quantity A times B times C, is the same as A times quantity B times C. So once again, if we're only multiplying, it doesn't matter what order those are in. So if I want to simplify using the associative property, if I have 3 plus quantity 8 plus x, those parentheses can just drop away. That's the same as 3 plus 8 plus x. So that's 11 plus x. Those are not like terms, so I cannot combine them. So that is as simplified as I can get. Over here, if I have 8 times 4x, that's the same thing as 8 times 4 times x, so 32x. So that's the associative and associative property and the commutative property. So essentially, if you are multiplying or adding, it doesn't matter what order you're in, and it doesn't matter where the parentheses are. It's when you start mixing different things that you have to pay attention to where those parentheses are and whether you're multiplying or not, or adding or not. Sorry.